questions, I tell you, one of the questions I've gotten a lot on these text messages in the question box has to do with gamesmanship, and how do you handle it when you know that, or maybe you don't know that you're getting bad calls, but it sure feels like the calls are close. Maybe you even see one ball that was called out that's in. Maybe someone's stalling. And to me, I think sometimes we allow ourselves to use that as an excuse that if we lose this match, well, we've now got an excuse to go to. What's your advice, doctor, to go ahead and, how do you handle these kinds of kind of gamesmanship situations?
Okay, well, we could focus just to start with on the bad call issue, which I have to confess, it is a tough one. It is a tough one. It's one thing to lose a point by the opponent making a good shot or you just making a bad error. With a bad call, there's an overlay of moral outrage, which is hard to resist, especially if you're insecure. And then again, we go to axioms, because when the moral outrage starts, you're going to come up with a whole set of reasonings that are not good ones. They will tend to be, you'll want to win too much to teach the cheater a lesson. You might even tank because you're not going to play against the cheater. If they want it that badly, let them have it. You could come up with any kind of conclusion that's not good. So the axioms are that whatever you do, it has to be something that helps your game. You mustn't do anything at court that doesn't help you play better. It doesn't help you win. And so, getting mad at the cheater, that will hurt your game. And so, you've got to be aware that you may do that. You better watch it. So the first thing is, I would probably question the call on the basis, if you think it's really a bad call, the nice way to call somebody a cheater is to ask them if they're sure of the call. That's sort of the unantagonistic way to say, I think you hooked me.
Right.
That would be a good start. Second, if it's a tournament, if it's obviously going on, then you try to stop the match and try to get an umpire, cause a scene. But in all of it, what will get you beaten, what's going to make you lose, is not the points you lose on the bad calls. What's going to get you beaten is getting upset about it, or thinking you have an excuse for losing, or anything other than keeping your mind on what you're doing on the next point and controlling your emotions. And so those need to be the focus. And the natural reactions are going to lead you to trouble, which will be, getting very angry and maybe doing something you shouldn't. Sort of keep your goals in mind.
Okay, well, listen, first of all, I'm gonna tell everyone, I'm gonna tell you, Doctor, thank you so much for your time today, and I want to put up a web page here that everyone can take a look at. This is Dr. Fox's website, where you can pick up his most recent book, Winning the Mental Match, and if you do so, if you buy it through this link here at Dr. Fox's website, send me the confirmation email that you receive, and I'm going to send you a bonus lesson. Dr. Fox and I are going to put together a little valuable lesson for you, and so you can send that to askbrent@webtennis.net, and that'll get to me. But Doctor, thank you so much for your time today. Really, really appreciate it. And I know you'll be helping us out again today with our next group at 3 o'clock. But, looking into the future, hope that you'll be able to join us again sometime.
Well, Brent, thank you for inviting me. Thank you, 100, for attending, which I very much appreciate. And, Brent, thank you for the highly intelligent questions.
which rarely that word is associated with me. Intelligent, but
the questions it's clear that you can play from your questions.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate that. And I'll let you go, and we'll see you at 3 o'clock. But thanks again, Doctor.
Well, thank you. See you at 3.
Okay. And guys, I'm going to stay on here. If you've got any more questions that you want to ask me, that's fine. I'll stay on for another few minutes. Um, and I see Boss. Let me see, Boss, if I can get you on. Boss, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Boss.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Let me just turn you down a little bit here.
Okay.
It's just me. Dr. Fox has signed off. But any feedback, or do you have a question?
Well, I was wondering. Actually, I wanted to ask him. I'm from Amsterdam. I play a lot, like for the last 2 years. I was wondering for a specific moment. Probably he was like behind, maybe 5-1. If he was able to turn that around and win the match. Did you ever experience that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on both sides of that situation where I've been behind, 1-5 or love 5, and been able to come back, and really I think the reality is it's not really about trying to come back as much as just trying to sort of get into a better feeling about playing in the match. Maybe you can win a game, maybe you can win a couple of games, or you can try something different. You might lose that set, but maybe you try a little different strategy, more as a probing exercise to see how your opponent handles it. And you might find out that, all right, I'm down 5-1, but I did win these 2 games. Trying something different, you lose the set 6-3, and you come out that second set, and now you've got a different strategy. On the other side of the coin, I mean, I've been up 5-1, I've been up 5-love, and I've lost that set, and so really, I think what Dr. Fox
that happens more often. That like the.
Thankfully, for me,
not in your case.
Yeah.
No, in general, that people experience it that way, that they feel they're.
Well, I would say it's got to be 50-50, because if someone's losing a 5-0 lead, then someone else is winning a love 5 lead. So, to me that's kind of 50-50. But I think what Dr. Fox said was really good. That when you get that lead, you cannot be satisfied. And
no, I found that very good as well. Yeah.
And I think that you have to condition that with not at the same time with not rushing to try to get the set completed.
Yeah, it's staying in the moment, really. Yeah.
It is staying in the moment, and it's great. So listen, I appreciate you coming on today. I'm going to go ahead and mute you. Let's see if we've got anybody else with a voice question here. Jeff Healy, I still can't get you on for whatever reason. Let's see, anybody else. Okay, let me go to some of these. I've got a question here from Carol. Carol, sorry that we didn't get to Dr. Fox with your question. But Carol, you said that you tend to get a little tight at the beginning of every match, not when you're trying to close it out. What tips do you have for helping be more confident and relaxed at the beginning of each match? And I know exactly what you mean, and I think that's a pretty common occurrence. And for me, what I have to do is I really need to get a good pre-match warm-up, and that might mean if I've got a match at 3 o'clock, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out there at 2 o'clock, and I'm going to go for a good 30 minutes. I want to crack a good sweat. I really want to kind of shake out the nerves. Because if I go out there to the match, if I got a 3 o'clock match and my warm-up is only going to be devoted to that 5 or 7 minutes that the tournament or the league gives you, it's not enough for me to kind of shake out the nerves. And so for me, what I really need is I need a good hard 30 minutes, almost anaerobic at times where I'm working hard, I'm running hard, trying to really crack a sweat. And there's some big matches where I'll get out there maybe an hour and a half before, warm up for a good 45 minutes, cool down, take not a hot shower, but a shower to kind of clean up, and then I feel fresh and ready to go. So I think for me, so much of the mental part of the game is based on what we do physically. And so my recommendation, Carol, is if you can get out there 60 minutes before the designated time that you're going to play that match, and really get out there, get a good warm up. If you're playing a tournament, there's usually someone else who's playing someone else at the same time. You can ask them to go out there and warm up with you. Or if it's a league match, you can certainly get a teammate to get out there with you. But my advice is you really need to physically do something on the court to kind of crack a good sweat and kind of break those nerves. And I think that will probably help you not be as nervous when you start a match. Let's see. Anyone else got a hand raised here? I see PT. Let's see if we can. PT, can you hear me? Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm not sure why this doesn't always work, but it certainly does not. I think we got Jeff Healy. Maybe. Jeff, are you there?
I am, Brent. Thanks, man.
Oh man, it worked out. How you doing today, Jeff?
It's just like second serves. You got to keep hitting them till they go in.
Thank you. Okay. What's your question?
Hey, the question is about differentiating outcomes from expectations. In that, I don't know if you remember, but Ronnie and I were playing, you and Steve, a number of years ago. We were up 4-1 in the first serving, and we ended up losing 4-4. And when I asked my partner after the match what a good score was, he said, losing 4-4 against these guys is a good result. So, getting to that point of saying, darn it, 4-4 is never a good result.
Well, I think, Jeff, the reality is when you're working on your game and you're trying to get better, a 4-4 can be a good score, against the type of level where you're trying to go to. And for me, when I was working on my game and trying to improve my game, there were certain guys that I'd go out against who used to beat me 0-0. And now here I am in a tournament and I'm 4-4, and I, maybe even like you said, when you guys were up 2 breaks in the first set, serving at 4-1, something, you got to be able to take something from that match to be able to continue to build on, if nothing else, just to keep motivating you to keep putting in the hard, those hard hours where you're doing things behind the scenes and no one's seeing you working, and you're trying to get better. And, it could be that it's a set. You might go 3 sets with a guy in singles, or you might go 3 sets with a team in doubles. And I could be satisfied with that, but it would make me hungrier to keep working harder, to be able to finally, go past that threshold where you start beating teams like that. So I wouldn't call it that I'm satisfied. I think that if anything, it's a motivator, and it's just a reality check telling you that you're getting closer. So don't stop working now.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. And second part being, I've always felt that you need to win the second set bigger than the first, so that the guy knows his best chance to beat you is past. What are your thoughts about that?
Okay, let me see if I can think through that one now. So you're saying that if you win the first set, you want to close it out with a more decisive score.
Say I win the first set 3, I want to win the second set 2.
Okay.
So that the guy knows his best chance has already passed. If I beat him 1-4, he's thinking, I was at 4 that second set. Next time I can get him.
Okay, well that's fine. But it's sort of out of your control. I think scores, especially with the way the scoring system is with tennis, it's not always that accurate. It could be that the 6-4 second set is really much more of an indicator of how the match was. It was a good match. Maybe the first set, just like I was talking about with Carol, maybe the guy didn't come out and get warmed up, and he dropped serve because he double faults twice in the first game. You get a couple of let chords, and with you, you're bombing serves anyway. So I'm not so sure that the score is really that much of a motivator. And I know where you're going with this, and the one thing I like about it is that you win the first set 6-4, 6-3, and you're thinking, I want to do better in the second set. And I think that's just exactly what Dr. Fox was saying is going, look, I'm not satisfied with, having won the first set. I'm not satisfied with being up one break in the second. I got to get that second. I got to get that second break. So if that works for you, I think that's cool. I think that's great.
I just got to have it work for me against you one time, Brent.
Well, you're just not paying me enough, Jeff. So,
Thank you, my friend.
all right, talk to you later.
Thanks.
Right. All right, let's see if I can unmute Jeff. I don't think I can. Oh, I still got him on here. Okay. Jeff, I can't unmute you, so don't start swearing back there. Guys,
I'll put you on mute here.
Okay. All right, thanks. All right, gang. Well, I think we're good. Anyone else? Maybe we can take one more question here. Let's see if we can get Daria. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Daria. How you
Do
doing
hear
today?
me? Hi, Brent. I'm very glad that we have your webinar today. And, I have a question. I agree that in order to prevent being nervous at the beginning of the match, warm up really helps. That's what I usually try to do. But sometimes, especially in doubles, I start match and I'm nervous and I cannot overcome it. So, what could you suggest to help?
You said that you're, and I, apologize for not clearly understanding. Did you say the word novice?
Yes.
Okay.
Being
Yeah.
extremely nervous.
Okay.
Nervous.
Oh, nervous. I'm sorry. Nervous. Yeah. I mean, for me, what's worked best is to get out there and get a little physical warm up on the court. If you don't have time to do that, then what I would do is do some between points routines where, what I try to do is really use that time between points to calm myself down because, I'm kind of jumpy. I can get nervous myself. And so what I try to do is make sure that between points I go through a very specific 4-part routine, which is, when the point's over, and this might sound kind of corny, but I immediately go to the hook of a favorite song. So if you've got some favorite song that you like that makes you feel good, I would encourage you as soon as the point's over, have no emotional response to whether you won that point or lost that point. Go to the hook of a song, which is going to take you about 5 seconds. What I do after that is I then start, I consciously take 2 or 3 very deep breaths. Even if the point has not been very long, I want to get some oxygen in there. The third thing I do is I think about, is there any specific strategy I want to use here to start the point? So if I'm serving, I might think, all right, well, I've been serving this guy to the backhand most of the time. This time, maybe it's the right time to, show him a forehand. And the fourth thing that I do, Daria, every time between points is I just give myself a little self kind of positive pump, which is, all right, here we go, we can do this. And what works for me to keep the nerves at bay and where they really don't take over is to go through this between points routine every time. And I'm telling you, the times when I am not disciplined to doing that, when I get distracted with other things, whether I'm distracted by thoughts of, well, I'm playing a very tough opponent, I'm playing a very weak opponent, I'm visually looking off of the court, seeing what's going on. Maybe I got something going on with the family that I keep thinking about. Anytime I do that, I don't play as calmly as I want to. So, my suggestion is, we're actually going to talk about this with Dr. Fox in this bonus lesson, is really what you want to do between points. And so what I would encourage you to do is to pick up his book today through this website. It's over at alanfoxtennis.net. I'm going to post that over at WebTennis. But that's really what's helped me. And other than that, I don't really know what to tell you, how to break those nerves before a match. Sometimes the nerves have helped me before the match to kind of get me excited, where I don't worry about the fact that I'm nervous. I just kind of accept the fact that, well, I got a few butterflies here. I'm a little bit nervous. This is good. This is a good thing. And eventually they just dissipate and go away. But when I really focus on them, that's when I have problems. So hope that answered your question, Daria. Guys, I think I'm going to sign off. Hope you enjoyed today's webinar. if you've got any more questions, feel free to send me an email, askbrent@webtennis.net. Would love some feedback either through email, or if you want to go to the webtennis.com/players. I'll go ahead and post something up there. You can leave feedback there. But glad for. No, that's not what I meant to say. Very glad that you're with us today, with me and Dr. Fox, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks very much.